Working class hustlers, I am crushing it on Amazon right now. And I want to show you how you can be doing the same thing. It's not hard at all. You could be getting it out there using the arbitrage business model to sell on Amazon. Now, when I tell you that I'm crushing it, I'm talking about my standards of crushing it, not this trumped up fake, Instagram, Facebook lifestyle crushing it. I'm talking about real numbers that you can relate to. Okay. Because you got to remember, guys, I'm a truck driver. I drive a truck for a living. But let me show you the kind of numbers that I'm talking about real quick. And then we're going to get into exactly how I do it. Okay, hustler. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look inside of my inventory lab. That's the software I use to really run my business. It's excellent software. But real quick, what you're looking at is October, November, and December of last year. Look at the kind of total income you saw: 6,000, 7,500, 13,500, but you really can't count that because this was December. Everybody gets a boost in December. But then what happened the next quarter, January, where everybody really starts to fall off, I was able to keep that up high. February, I was able to keep that up high. March, we went up even higher. And if you look at where I'm at right now, with today being April the 16th, I'm on pace to keep right where I'm at. So the question is, hustlers, how am I doing it? And what it boils down to is just overall, the overarching theme here is, for me, I had to start thinking like a manager. Remember, your experience in arbitrage selling on Amazon goes from kind of like, okay, is this really going to work? Then the next phase is bewilderment. I mean, you take it in and you realize, wow, this really works. But that's not enough, guys. You're not going to be successful. And I've been suffering as long as I've been doing this, as long as I've been teaching it. I still need to get better. And one of the things that I wasn't doing, the main thing, I was not thinking like a manager. If you want to be successful and get the kind of results that I'm getting using my system, it kind of goes like this. Number one, of course, you need to source products. That's the biggest thing that people get into, and it leads them to getting ungated and all types of other things. But here's the thing. You got to source, if you're using my system, with the purpose of getting replenishables. Why would you want replenishables? And by replenishable, we mean products that you can continue to sell over and over again. You wash, you rinse, you repeat. That's important because that gives you cash flow. You know what I mean? You got to understand, guys, in the beginning, when you're sourcing products, you don't know what's going to sell. If you don't know what's going to sell, you're going to end up buying things that don't always sell the way you thought or as quickly as you thought they were going to sell. That falls under research and development. Okay. So when you've got replenishables, these are proven items. When you buy them, you pretty much know when they're going to sell. And that is huge. There's less risk. What I mean by risk is there's less risk of your money being tied up in inventory. Your budget, your money is doing you no good sitting in the warehouse, sitting in your basement. It's only doing good when it's moving, when it's selling. There's a risk you take when you buy products, no matter what it is. But life is a system of odds. Lessen the odds that you're going to take a loss. Okay. And replenishables is an excellent. It's probably the best way to ensure you put the odds in your favor. Another thing that's great about replenishables, you're dealing with the same products over and over again, so you can develop systems around those products. You learn, we're going to get into things that you need to do as a manager, but a lot of managerial duties can really be honed in when you're talking about products that and you constantly are constantly sending in. The dimensions, issues like, the issues that these products have. Are they perishable? Are they breakable? What are the little quirks and things? You learn all of that and then you get faster. Okay. So what I would suggest for the beginner, try to get about 5 to 10 replenishables. When you do that, that's going to allow you to put more of your budget into products that are actually going to bring you that return. Yes, in this business, you constantly need to be having some of your budget go to research and development, because you got to be bringing in new items if you want to grow and if you want to kind of hedge against products that you eventually lose, because sometimes you do lose products for different reasons we talk about all the time. But guys, you got to think like a manager. That means keeping stock on your replenishables. I told you, try to get 5 to 10 replenishables as a beginner. But once you get those, you got to have stock all the time. Guys, you cannot afford, not one day, to have that product out of stock. And one of the main reasons is you're missing out on opportunity when that product is out of stock. And I don't care if you're FBA, I don't care if you're fulfilled by merchant, I do them both. Either way, the product has to be there, because you got to understand, when a customer comes along, that was the time that they were ready. You don't have the product, you lost that opportunity. And I don't care if they come back later. You lost the opportunity right there when they came that particular time. And who knows what could have cascaded as a result of that. So you cannot afford to lose that opportunity, period. And then, as we said before, again, this goes into thinking like a manager. Okay, you develop your systems. You get the right size boxes. You get the right packing material. You don't have to think. You don't have to test, and you don't have to develop. You got all of that together. Okay, you learn how to predict how much stock you need to have. Okay, and again, a lot of your budget is going towards products and items that are going to get you that return. And another thing that's very important about focusing, more on replens is because it's just much more powerful. It's much more bang for the buck. And what you're less likely to run yourself out of business. A lot of times what happens is we try to grow too fast. We're trying to buy everything. And every time we buy something, that money is tied up. Then we run out of money. Okay. So, that dealing in replens is going to really kind of put you in much better shape in that regard. Let me give you another example of how to think like a manager so that you're not losing money. And again, guys, this applies to me. I am talking to you about things that I'm doing better this year so that I can make more money. Okay. Storage. If you're doing FBA, you're going to pay storage fees when that product is sitting in the warehouse. Now, let me show you exactly what I mean. We're going to go over inside of my Seller Central account. We're going to look at the fee chart so that we got a clear understanding of how they're charging. Get my glasses on here. Okay, now what you'll see is for non-dangerous, which is the example I'm going to give, you've got a fee that goes, it's 83 cents, not oversized. In this example, I'm not going oversized. I'm going with a pair of women's jeans. Now watch what happens. From January through September, you pay 83 cents per cubic foot. October, November, and December, that's fourth quarter, you pay $2.40 per cubic foot. Now watch how this plays in. Now, and what you'll notice is I actually ran a couple of reports. I wanted to run and see what I paid on a pair of jeans in the warehouse in March, which was just last month. And I wanted to look at what I paid in December just to see if this is really coming out the way we're looking at this chart here. So watch what happens. We're going to go back over into my inventory lab so we can see what we sold. Okay, so here you can see these. It's a pair of white women's, flare fit jean, whatever. Here's my point. You can see that on April 4th, okay, we sold one pair for $43.71. We paid $15.90. That sounds great, right? That sounds great. Net profit, $14.57. 33% profit margin. Return on investment, 91.2%. 1.6. That's approaching a double in your money. That sounds great, don't it? But wait a minute. Look at this. Here's another reason why I love the software inventory lab. We have videos on that if you want to learn this software. You couldn't get all of this information just in Seller Central, and that's why this is worth it. We got videos about it, but look at, we listed this on August the 29th back in 2021. So we've got to count how much did we spend. And you can even see this is really, really good. I can see when where I bought it. These are things you're not going to get. I actually bought it back on the 6th of August and didn't get it into the warehouse to the 29th. Number one, that's wrong right there. I was already not thinking like a manager because you don't want to sit on, but maybe we're going to talk about that for a minute. So pay attention. Okay. So we did a report, and this is kind of what the report looks like. There's a report that you can get that will show you. You see why I have this line, this third line highlighted? That's that gene. Now, if you move over, you can see there's that 83 cents. Okay. But that was for last month. If we go back, remember we did one, I said we were going to do one for December. That's during Q4. And look at what we paid. We paid $2.40. So it's just like they said, guys. It's just like they said. Now, when you add up the months and the fees that I paid for the time, because remember, this didn't sell. This went into the warehouse. Say, I'm not going to count August because it didn't make it to the warehouse that quick. But if you count September all the way up until we had our purchase, which was April the 4th, you got some months there. And when you add all of that together, this is how much I paid in storage fees. Now, go back and look at that net profit, and all of a sudden it don't look so sweet no more, do it? Take away $10.52, and now some of you guys, I don't know what software you may be using. For example, inside of Inventory Lab, when you're getting ready to list the product, you can see supposedly, I don't know how accurate this is, but this is going to show you your profit after fees based on, certain dates. And then it has your break even point, and then you start to lose money. But I don't know how accurate it is. So you'd have to look into that. I would say you're better off probably doing your own calculations. And this takes me to the final part. Where I was going with all of this, showing you this, was to show you another way that you have to start thinking like a manager. That includes me. Obviously, I wasn't thinking like a manager. Number one, a pair of white women's jeans. Why would I send those into the warehouse back in August or September? They sat there and now they're all sold. Why? Because we're in the spring. As a manager, I should have been thinking about that. I should have said, hey, you know what? It's great that we can get these for $14 when we know that we can get 42 or 43 in the spring. Let's sit on them. It's okay to go ahead and list them merchant fulfilled if they sell great, but you're not paying a storage fee. Look at how much it cost me. If the product was going to sell in April, then it was going to sell in April. I made the choice to source the product. It's going to sell in April. That's when it's going to sell. The only question is, am I going to have it sitting in Amazon's warehouse so that I pay storage on it? Or am I going to think like a manager, send it in the spring? You see what I'm saying? So I hope this gave you an example of the things that you want to do so that you can start crushing it. Okay. Start consistently doing 10,000 a month, just like me. Guys, all you need to do is start getting your replenishables. It takes a little bit of time, but I got some tools that can help you. It all starts with sourcing, but I got some tools that'll help you.